The Independent Police Investigative Directorate is investigating the case of a police officer accused of sexually assaulting her own son. The 40-year-old female officer was taken into custody last week and has since appeared in court. She's expected to make a formal bail application next week. Let's get the latest on that investigation from IPID spokesperson Lizzy Suping. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. Can you first of all tell us what is IPID's response to the video that has gone viral?
Thank you, Hanbi, and good evening to the viewers. That's a very disturbing the video, especially where the sexual acts are being committed by an officer of the law. So for us as IPID, after we saw the video on social media, we decided to institute our own investigation, which is now ongoing. And like you said, the suspect will appear in court on Monday for a bail application.
So how do these processes unfold? So we know that the suspect has been arrested. She's going to apply for bail. Is she going to be suspended pending that investigation, not only by IPID, but also pending the outcome of the criminal charges? And do you know what she's been charged with?
The officer is facing charges of rape, child pornography, sexual grooming, as well as the distribution of child pornography. In terms of our role as IPID, we are investigating acts of rape committed by police officers. So this is a criminal case, and that is what we'll be looking at. However, at the end of our investigation, we will definitely make a recommendation to SAPS to institute disciplinary sanctions against their member. But the information that I have at the moment is that SAPS is also busy with their own internal processes to take action against the member.
Do we know what's been done to protect the minor child?
The child had to undergo counseling yesterday with social workers, and at this point in time, he is in the care of his grandmother in Limpopo.
So investigations that drag on, and we know these things take time, but just speaking in terms of visibility, a lack of visibility in terms of outcomes of investigations gives the public at large, and sometimes police officers themselves, the impression, whether correctly so or not, that police officers can get away with breaking the law, that they have impunity. What is IPID's message to counter that perception?
In terms of Monday, where the officer is applying for bail, we as IPID are going to oppose the bail application. And like I've said, the investigation has started. Remember, we only got to know about this video on Monday, and we started with our own investigations. And the matter is already on the court roll. So most of the processes will unfold as per the court processes. And we will then be able to get a judgment later from the court. But there is action in terms of other cases that we've investigated. We have actually received convictions from the courts, and the officers, some of them are in jail as we speak. Some of them subset to institute disciplinary action against them, depending on the court judgment.
We've seen a deterioration of the trust from members of the public in the police. And I think part of it is because we see these cases in the mainstream media where police, those very individuals who have been tasked with protecting South Africans, take the law into their own hands. Do you think that lack of trust in the police is warranted, or should South Africans continue to see the bigger picture? I mean, being part of independent investigations into police criminality. What's your perspective on how we should view whether our police service in South Africa is in fact upholding the law, and whether they are on the whole trustworthy?
I think there are some men and women in blue who are upholding the law, but there are those elements that tend to take advantage of the law and take the law into their own hands. And that is where we come in as IPID to investigate and ensure that there's accountability from their side, but that there's also justice for the victims. And as I've said, remember, court processes take a bit of time. However, at the end, we do get convictions. And like I've said, we have secured a lot of convictions in the last quarter. Unfortunately, I don't have the stats with me now, but we did secure a lot of convictions in the last 2 quarters of the year, the financial year.
Is there a need to review and perhaps revise the entry requirements to become a South African police officer and the kind of stringent protocols in place, the checks and balances to make sure that members of the police do not find it so easy to break the law?
There are lots of inductions or training exercises that have been done at college, but also with the officers that tend to break the law, the ones that are in visible policing. There are also training interventions that have been done by IPID as well from our side, but also from SAPS's side, where we interact and engage with the police officers on a regular basis to talk about their conduct, especially when they have to effect arrests or they have to disperse crowds during protests. So we do engage with SAPS members on a regular basis, but also from the side of SAPS, there are training interventions, even at college when they recruit new officers. There are those training interventions that are taking place. It's unfortunate that at times some of the officers tend to break the law, but there are those few who are actually upholding the law.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. IPID spokesperson Lizzy Suping commenting there on the arrest of that female police officer after the distribution of that very disturbing video of sexual conduct with her own son.